Welcome back, everybody. This is Tony. You're here at Yesteryear TV, and these are the best horror films for the year 2016. We're well into the 2010 decade, and these are the best horror films of all time from 2016. Let's begin, all right? So let's go ahead and see what the first movie on our list is. Cloverfield Lane. A young woman is held in an underground bunker by a man who insists that a hostile event has left the surface of the earth uninhabitable. 10 Cloverfield Lane. 31. 5 carnival workers are kidnapped and held hostage in an abandoned, hellish compound where they are forced to participate in a violent game, the goal of which is to survive 12 hours. 31. It's a scorcher. Next up is Before I Wake. A couple adopt an orphan child whose dreams and nightmares manifest physically as he sleeps. Before I Wake. So whatever he dreams comes true. Better Watch Out. I love Better Watch Out. On a quiet suburban street, a babysitter must defend a 12-year-old boy from intruders, only to discover it's far from a normal home invasion. Better Watch Out. Blair Witch. After discovering a video showing what he believes to be his vanished sister, Heather, James and a group of friends head to the forest believed to be inhabited by the Blair Witch. Blair Witch. Boo. A Medea Halloween. Medea lands in the midst of mayhem when she spends a haunted Halloween fending off killers, paranormal, poltergeist, ghosts, and ghouls and zombies. Boo. A Medea Halloween. Cabin Fever. While staying at a remote cabin for a week-long vacation, a group of 5 college friends succumb to an infectious flesh-eating disease. I like Cabin Fever, and Cabin Fever 2 is also good too. So check out Cabin Fever. Cell. When a mysterious cell phone signal causes apocalyptic chaos, an artist is determined to reunite with his young son in New England. I love John Cusack, and he was really good in this movie. Cell, 2016. Daylight's End. A vengeful drifter takes up with a group of survivors in an abandoned police station during an apocalypse overrun by bloody, hungry creatures. Daylight's End. Zombie. Death Note. We love Death Note. A high school student named Light Turner discovers a mysterious notebook that has the power to kill anyone whose name is written within its pages. Death Note. I saw this on Netflix. I believe it came out on Netflix. Very good movie. You'll love it. Don't Breathe. 3 delinquents break into the house of a war veteran who is blind to steal his money. However, they discover that the man is not as defenseless as he seems. So, don't mess with blind people because they have the best hearing. Don't Hang Up. An evening of drunken prank calls becomes a nightmare for 2 teenagers when a stranger turns their own game against them, with deadly consequences. Don't hang up. So when you do prank calls, you gotta get it right back. Five Nights at Freddy's 4. One day a boy goes to Freddy's Fazbear's Pizzeria. The next day, strange things happen. A package arrives at your house, an invitation to an anonymous birthday party. Five Nights at Freddy's. 2016. Friend Request. When a college student unfriends a mysterious girl online, she finds herself fighting a demonic presence that wants to make her lonely by killing her closest friends. Friend Request. And then there's a one called Unfriended. Killing Ground. A couple's camping trip turns into a frightening ordeal when they stumble across the scene of a horrific crime. Killing Ground. We love Killing Ground. Lake Bottom. Every camper's worst nightmare came true at Lake Bottom in 1960 when 4 teenagers were stabbed to death while sleeping in their tent. Lake Bottom. Isn't that sad? 4 teenagers stabbed to death in their tent in the woods. Alright, next up we have is Lavender. After discovering old fractures in her skull, a photographer recovering from amnesia becomes increasingly haunted by a sinister childhood secret. Her secret. We love her secrets. Alright, Lights Out. Rebecca must unlock the terror behind her little brother's experiences that once tested her sanity, bringing her face to face with a supernatural spirit attached to their mother. Lights Out, supernatural horror and mystery. Meet the Blacks. As Carl Black gets the opportunity to move his family out of Chicago and hope for a better life. Their arrival in Beverly Hills is timed with that city's annual purge, where all crime is legal. The Blacks. Ouija, Origin of Evil. In 1967 Los Angeles, a widowed mother's daughter tries to communicate with her late father through an Ouija board, but unleashes a demon instead. Pandemic. A New York doctor travels with her team to Los Angeles to find survivors of a worldwide pandemic. Pandemic. Found footage horror. We love it. Next up we have is Pet. A man bumps into an old crush and holds her captive underneath the animal shelter where he works. Pet. Psychological horror, crime, horror, and thriller. Pet. Next up we have is Prey. A zoo veterinarian gets caught up in a grisly adventure as she finds herself leading the citywide hunt for a monstrous lion terrorizing the Dutch capital of Amsterdam. Prey. So who wouldn't be frightened of a wild lion? Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. 5 sisters in 19th century England must cope with the pressures to marry while protecting themselves from growing population of zombies. Isn't that cool? The 19th century England. Zombies. Raw. A young woman studying to be a vet develops a craving for human flesh. You can imagine what it would do to human flesh. Raw. Next up we have is the legendary Resident Evil, the final chapter. Alice returns to where the nightmare began, the hive in Raccoon City, where the Umbrella Corporation is gathering its forces for a final strike against the only remaining survivor of the apocalypse. Resident Evil, the final chapter. Split. 3 girls are kidnapped by a man with a diagnosed 23 distinct personalities. They must try to escape before the apparent emergence of a frightful new 24th. Split. So this movie's good. A lot of action. Terrifier. Everybody loves Terrifier. A maniac named Art the Clown terrorizes 2 friends on Halloween and everyone who gets in his way. Terrifier. So you don't want to cross Terrifier. If you see him, run away because he'll mess you up. The Doll. Eerie things begin to happen after a man gives his wife a doll, unaware it once belonged to a girl who was murdered. The first of the Doll films. Horror and thriller. The Doll. The Wailing. Soon after a stranger arrives in a little village, a mysterious sickness starts spreading. A policeman drawn into the incident is forced to solve the mystery in order to save his daughter. The Wailing. Body horror and thriller and horror. The Conjuring 2. Ed and Lorraine Warren travel to North London to help a single mother raising 4 children alone in a house plagued by a supernatural spirit. This movie was pretty good. It was creepy and eerie. The Darkness. A family unknowingly awakens an ancient supernatural entity on a Grand Canyon vacation and must fight for survival when it follows them home. It has a life of its own. Maybe you should get a life of your own before it's too late. The Good Neighbor. I love The Good Neighbor. A pair of mischievous high school kids create the illusion of a haunting on an unsuspecting elderly neighbor while keeping his every reaction under surveillance. The Good Neighbor. I believe this is the movie where he doesn't talk. The Neon Demon. An aspiring model, Jessie is new to Los Angeles. However, her beauty and youth, which generate intense fascination and jealousy within the fashion industry, may prove themselves sinister. The Purge election year. Senator Charlie Roan and her head of security must survive an annual night of terror where all crime is legal. Simple. When you know the purge is coming, just simply skip town and go to another country. The Shallows. A mere 200 yards from shore, surfer Nancy is attacked by a great white shark. With her short journey to safety becomes the ultimate contest of wills. I like this movie. This is very nail-biting. The Shallows. The Untamed. A couple in a troubled marriage locate a meteorite, initiating an encounter with a mysterious creature. Their lives are turned upside down by the discovery of the creature. The Untamed. This is pretty scary and eerie. I think you'll love it. The Boy. An American nanny is shocked that her new English family's boy is actually a life-size doll. After she violates a list of strict rules, disturbing events make her believe that the doll is real. The Boy, not to be confused with Robert the Doll. Train to Busan. I must have watched this at least 5 times. I love it. While a zombie virus breaks out in South Korea, passengers struggle to survive on the train from Seoul to Busan. Koreans make awesome horror films. This movie is great. And lastly, we have Underworld Blood Wars. Vampire death dealer Celine fights to end the eternal war between the Light Clan and the vampire faction that betrayed her. Underworld Blood Wars. Those were the best horror films, all the horror films that scared us in the year 2016. Out of all these films, what were your favorite films, horror films of this year? Obviously, this is not all inclusive, so if there's any horror films I left out, that's my bad. But we're just covering the top horror films that were released in this year, 2016. Any questions, comments, or feedback, leave them below. I'm here at Yesteryear TV. I'm Tony, and I'll see you all in the next video.